Death Must Die. Death Must Die makes you feel like you're playing a hand-me-down version of Hades, honestly. But then you start to realize it's really a mix of Hades, Path of Exile, and Vampire Survivors. Pretty good combination of games to get influence from. Death Must Die is an action, indie, RPG, casual, fighting, early access game. Death Must Die was developed by Realm Archive. As for the story, the game doesn't really have an intro cutscene that I remember. The story really feels like the gods have decided that death needs to get offed, so they send a bunch of people to a house party with the intention of killing death. I know, it sounds stupid, right? Like death can die. And these people just somehow get help from the gods to do so. Just over 97% of the people watching this video are not subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button and help us out. Here are the menu settings. Death Must Die also includes a loot filter and the entire history of patch notes. Death Must Die is only available on the computer right now. Sorry, console players. The graphics for Death Must Die fit this dark gothic vibe pretty well. Honestly, it reminds me quite a bit of the Diablo 1 graphics. As for the sound effects, they work. Nothing blew me away, but at no point during my playthrough did I go, wow, these sounds suck, or this ambient noise sucks. Everything was pretty well laid out, fit the mold pretty well, can't say anything too bad here. The general game flow is this. You give your A+ effort trying to stay alive and fighting off all of death's minions, only to eventually get sent back home from school like the naughty little child you are. At home, you try to figure out what you can do differently, and off you go again. And on to the mechanics. You can move, you can dash, you can manually shoot or turn on auto attack by pushing Q, which targets the closest enemy and fires away. You can also interact with different things such as picking up equipment and items to put in your inventory. Boosts that increase your character stats for this entire run. This boost has 3 things you can pick from: 28% power duration, 16% power damage, or 28% area. You can also pick up time boost. Think of these like shrines in Diablo 2 that last a certain amount of time and do something cool. The one I just got picks up all the experience orbs on the map for me for I think 60 seconds. You can also walk over items such as gold, life, and experience. These green pickups are experience. While you're playing, you can also break vases. Vases have cool items sometimes. They can also have gold. As you're going through your run and you pick up enough experience, you're going to eventually hit a level up. Upon leveling up, you can select one of 3 boons to pick. If you don't like any of them, you can banish one. Let's say you like this god, Winter Goddess of Cold, but you want a different set of things, you can re-roll. And let's say you don't want the Winter Goddess at all, you can use an alteration to pick a different god. These boons really do wild things sometimes, such as empowering your normal attacks or giving your dash a new ability. Let's look at the 3 that we got right here. Ravens of Pestilence will spawn ravens that curse enemies. Black Serpents is a cast that will automatically cast out black serpents that damage enemies, resolving curse and reapplying it. And Lifelink is a dash modifier which drains health from enemies and healing you if you're below a certain threshold. Death Must Die also supports a full inventory system where you have an amulet, a helmet, a relic, armor, a belt, a jewel, a ring, boots, and gloves. This equipment persists per run, so you'll have these on every single run that you do. On the left side here, you'll see here your character stats for your current run, which you level on top, and then all of these stats, and if you hover over them, they give you more information. On the bottom right here, you have your gold. The boons that you acquire throughout your run can go into one of 7 slots: attack, dash, strike, cast, power, summon, or passive. Attack is your left click, dash is your dash. Strikes are usually things that modify your attack. Think of them as random chance abilities that trigger on attack. Cast, think of as magic spells that automatically happen. Power is a wide range of things that usually hit pretty hard. The one I have here, Frost Ring, whenever I dash I have a chance to spawn a Frost Ring. Summons are what you think they are. Here I have Raised Skeleton, Ravens, and Frost Wolves. And passives are a category of things that just generally help. So here you can see I have increased armor, and mayhem is a cool one. Whenever an elite or boss enemy dies under cursed, you gain permanent damage. As you guys can see, I have the cursed ravens here and the cursed black serpents here. On the right here, you can see all of the increases of things I picked up during the run. This could be like the well, the ancient scroll, bonfires. This right side does not persist between runs, but this is what I have currently. As for enemy variety, you got regular enemies. Sometimes you got bigger enemies that charge you really fast and do a triangle attack. Sometimes you got enemies that shoot fireballs at you. Sometimes you got big Hulk looking enemies. Sometimes you got enemies that shoot laser beams. So there's a lot of different variety of small enemies. You can have elite enemies here. You tell by the elite enemy having a little crown on their head. And you also have bosses. Sometimes the bosses have mechanics. The insect queen summons clones that you have to go kill, elite clones. In town, you can do a wide range of things. Let's start in the West Wing. You have the achievements where you can see all the achievements that you've locked per character. I don't know why they don't have an Act 2 one here yet. Sometimes you can see artifacts of bosses you've defeated. Traveler here has 3 things: the item loadouts that you can unlock, talent loadouts that you can unlock, and extra stash storage. You can talk to all your friends in town. Some of the friends have very interesting things to say. Each character that you have will also have a passive skill tree where you can spend points upgrading your character. Some of these end skills are wild, where for Scotty, she gets another wolf. She can have enemies take more damage from each status effect that they have applied to them. A random skill can gain 1 level on every 2 levels you gain. You have the shopkeeper, where you can sell items and then buy items. You can also buy back items in case you accidentally sell an item you want. You have your stash, where you can store all the items that you want to keep. Middle mouse button transfers them. You also have stash tabs. Over here you have a library where you can read the lore that you've picked up. Over here you have an armory where you can equip your characters and see all the items in a much better laid out menu. Pro tip, on your inventory tab here, you can actually switch between your characters' inventories like this. You have a mailbox so that the devs can keep in contact. And you have a campfire where you can select which character you want to run out into the wild with. And when you're all ready to go, you run down these stairs here into the abyss, and that will start a new run. You also have the Star Crux in the middle. After you've completed your first run, this unlocks. These are basically skulls from Halo, or if you've played Hades, they're very similar to the contracts, I think they're called, where you make your runs harder and you get more rewards. Currently, the game only has 2 acts, which is why I only have 2 things unlocked here. And if you really want, you can walk back out of the cave and just see the nice scenery. Death Must Die is a single player game, meaning the multiplayer section is going to be literally nothing. There is no multiplayer in this game. As for cosmetics and pay to win, there are none. As for some of the cool items, the dialogue between characters is pretty unique. As you explore each character's dialogue, you'll find out that each one has their own personality, which keeps the game a little interesting. Passive tree is a nice touch where you can build characters the way you want to play. And overall, from a game that takes heavy influence from games like Hades and Path of Exile, it's pretty well put together. I haven't had too many weird interactions or bugs that I have found, so props to the developers. Alright, so on to the not cool. Game's in early access, and it has been for quite some time. And honestly, there's not a lot of content in the game. There's 2 acts, a Star Crux to make things harder, and that's about it. At the time of making this video, you can complete this game in couple hours through a couple good runs. So here's hoping that the developers add things sooner and it gets out of early access faster. And that's Death Must Die. On our patented 0 to 1 scale, in its current early access form, we give Death Must Die a 0.61 out of 1. This game could have very easily been scored higher had there been more content. I think early access games that release with such little content honestly hurts the community, and I wish to see more games in the future. If you're going to release early content, make sure you have a very large chunk. But I honestly, personal feelings here, I hope early access stops. I miss the days where games came out in, yeah, sure, maybe there was a buggy little state, but they came out in a way that you could still complete them. As always, if you guys like these videos, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. We're nearing 7,000 subscribers, so thank you all. Thanks to the community. Thank you guys all for the kind messages and comments and the love that we've been getting. We're gonna keep making review videos and other random gaming videos. For anyone playing pickleball, work on your dinks.